You didn't lose that trade because the market reversed. You lost it because you refused to accept who you are in that moment. Let's tell the truth, no one on Trading YouTube wants to say out loud. Most traders don't blow accounts because of bad entries. They don't fail because their strategy doesn't work. They don't lose because the market is manipulated. They lose because they turn winning trades into losing ones. Again, and again, and again. You watch price move in your direction, your P&L turns green. For a moment, you feel powerful, smart, finally right. And that's exactly where the problem begins, because the moment a trade goes into profit, something dark wakes up inside you. Not fear, not greed, identity. You stop managing a position, you start protecting an image of yourself. You are no longer a trader executing a plan. You are now a person who needs to be right. And the market doesn't care about that. When a trade is winning, logic quietly leaves the room. Your stop loss, you give it more room. Your take profit, you let it run. Your rules, you adjust them just this once. You tell yourself a beautiful lie. I don't want to cut it too early. But the real truth is uglier. You don't want to feel regret, because closing a winner early hurts your ego. Closing a winner that keeps running feels like you missed out, and missing out feels worse to you than losing money. So you hold. You hold while price slows down. You hold while momentum fades. You hold while the market gives you warning after warning. And then it happens. Price comes back to your entry, and now your brain enters survival mode. You tell yourself, at least let it break even. I was just a few pips away. It can't reverse all the way. This is where most traders cross the point of no return. Because now this is no longer a trade. This is a negotiation with reality. You start bargaining with the market like it's a human being, like it owes you something, like it remembers how patient you were 5 minutes ago. But the market doesn't remember. It doesn't punish, it doesn't reward, it only moves. And while you are emotionally frozen, price keeps moving without you. Your winning trade turns into nothing. Nothing turns into red, and red turns into pain. But here's the darkest part. Even when the trade goes negative, you still don't close. Why? Because now closing doesn't just mean losing money. It means admitting you were wrong after you were right. And that feels unbearable. You would rather lose money than lose the story you told yourself. So you hold. You watch the loss grow. Your chest tightens. Your breathing changes. Your mind goes quiet. Not calm quiet, numb quiet. This is not trading anymore. This is self-harm disguised as patience. And when the stop loss finally gets hit, or you manually close in exhaustion, you feel something strange. Relief, not anger, not sadness. Relief, because the decision is finally over. And that should scare you, because it means the pain wasn't the loss. The pain was being responsible. Most traders hold winners into losers because they don't know how to take responsibility for success. Failure is familiar. Loss feels normal. But winning creates pressure. When you're in profit, expectations rise. Your mind starts calculating future possibilities. What if this is the trade? What if this is the one that changes everything? And that pressure makes you freeze. So subconsciously, you sabotage the win. You let it turn into a loss because a loss puts you back in a familiar emotional territory. This is why some traders feel more comfortable losing than winning. Losing matches their self-image. Deep down, many traders don't believe they deserve consistency. They believe in struggle. They believe in suffering first, reward later. So when reward comes early, they reject it. They let it slip away. Legendary traders understood this early. One professional trader once said he didn't make money by predicting the market. He made money by exiting correctly. Another said his edge wasn't entries, but the discipline to take profits when his emotions begged him not to. Because holding winners into losers has nothing to do with market structure. It's about your relationship with uncertainty. A winning trade still has uncertainty, and your brain hates unresolved uncertainty. So instead of closing and accepting a partial win, you gamble on certainty. You wait for more confirmation. You wait for just a bit more. But markets don't move to give you closure. They move to expose weakness. And the weakness is this. You want the market to validate you, not pay you. Validation keeps you in trades too long. Payment requires detachment. A professional trader takes profits with emotional neutrality. An amateur trader holds because he wants the high. Yes, the high. Because unrealized profit feels better than realized profit. Unrealized profit is fantasy. Realized profit is final. And finality scares you. Once you close, the trade is over. No more hope. No more what if. So you delay the end, even if it costs you everything. If you've ever watched a green trade turn red while whispering, just come back. This video is not attacking you. It's exposing you. Because until you face this truth, you will repeat the same cycle with different charts, different indicators, different years. The market will keep teaching you the same lesson until you stop lying to yourself. You are not holding because you are patient. You are holding because you are afraid. Afraid of missing out, afraid of being wrong too soon, afraid of closing without perfection. But trading doesn't reward perfection. It rewards execution. The moment you learn to close winning trades without emotional attachment, the market stops feeling like an enemy. Because the real enemy was never price. It was your need to feel right. And until you kill that need, your winners will always find a way to become losers. Not because the market is cruel, but because it is honest. And until you kill that need, your winners will always find a way to become losers. Not because the market is cruel, but because it is honest. And honesty is something most traders cannot tolerate. Let's go deeper into what actually happens in your mind in those moments. Because the decision to hold a winner into a loser is not made in 1 second. It is made through a chain of tiny psychological failures. The first failure is this: you confuse hope with skill. When price is in profit, you start believing you deserve more. Not because of probability, not because of structure, but because of effort. You tell yourself, I waited so long for this setup. I suffered so many losses. I worked so hard to learn. So you feel entitled to a big win. And entitlement is poison in trading. The market does not pay you for effort. It pays you for discipline. But discipline is boring. Entitlement is emotional. So when price reaches your target, you hesitate. You say, let me see if it can go a bit further. This is not strategy. This is gambling wrapped in intelligence. At this point, something important changes in your brain. You stop thinking in probabilities. You start thinking in stories. You imagine how good it will feel if it hits the next level. You imagine telling someone about this trade. You imagine how this win will fix your account. And the more vivid the story becomes, the harder it becomes to accept a smaller reality. So you reject reality. You ignore signals that would normally tell you to exit. You ignore momentum loss. You ignore volume changes. You ignore your own rules. Because rules cannot compete with fantasy. Now comes the second failure. You anchor yourself to the highest profit you saw. This is one of the most destructive cognitive biases in trading. If your trade was up $300, your brain now believes $300 is yours. Not potential, not floating, yours. So when it pulls back to $200, you don't feel like you're still winning. You feel like you've lost $100, even though you are still in profit. This creates anger, and anger creates revenge thinking. You think, it already gave me $300, it owes me that. So instead of taking $200, you hold for $300 again. But markets don't revisit prices to fix your emotions. They revisit prices to continue moving. So the pullback continues. Now your trade is up only $50, and now the emotional damage is bigger than the financial risk. Because now you are not protecting money. You are protecting dignity. You think, I was up so much, I can't close now. That would be stupid. So you hold. And now the third failure happens. You shift your goalposts. Originally, you planned to take profit at a certain level. But now your new goal is not profit. Your new goal is break even. This is where most traders destroy themselves. Because break even is not a strategy. Break even is emotional damage control. You are no longer trading to win. You are trading to avoid feeling foolish. So you say, let me at least get out without a loss. But this is the trap. Because once price reaches your entry again, you don't close. Why? Because now you are afraid of missing the next move. You think, it came all the way back. Maybe this is the real move now. So you hold again. And now the trade goes negative. And now something very dark happens in your psychology. You begin to identify with the losing position. You stop seeing it as a trade. You start seeing it as a reflection of yourself. If you close, you are admitting failure. If you hold, you still have hope. So you choose hope. Not because it is logical, but because it is emotionally cheaper than acceptance. And this is where time distortion happens. Minutes feel like hours. You stare at every tick. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your body is tense. You are no longer present. You are trapped in the future, imagining what could happen, imagining what might save you. This is not trading. This is addiction. Because every tick becomes a hit of dopamine or pain. Up 1 pip, relief. Down 1 pip, panic. And you are hooked. At this point, even if the trade comes back to a small profit, you still don't close. Because now your expectations are damaged. You don't want a small win. You want compensation. You want the market to repay you for the emotional pain it caused. So you hold. And this is why many traders turn winning trades into catastrophic losses. Not because they are stupid, but because they are trying to emotionally balance a situation that cannot be balanced. The market does not compensate. It does not apologize. It does not make things fair. It only moves forward. Now let's talk about the personality trait behind this behavior, because this is not just a trading problem. This is a life problem. People who hold winners into losers often have one thing in common. They delay difficult decisions. They avoid closure. They avoid endings. They stay in bad relationships too long. They stay in bad jobs too long. They tolerate situations that should have ended years ago because they are afraid of finality. Closing a trade is a form of ending, and endings force you to accept limits. Limits on how much you can earn, limits on how much control you have, limits on how perfect things can be, and many traders cannot tolerate limits. They want the perfect exit, the exact top, the full move. But perfection in trading is impossible, so they wait. And while they wait for perfection, reality takes everything. Professional traders understand something brutal. The market does not reward holding. It rewards exiting. Anyone can enter a trade. Few can exit one cleanly, because exits expose your true psychology. Entries test your analysis. Exits test your character. When you close a winning trade, you are saying, "This is enough." And saying enough is one of the hardest psychological acts for human beings, because enough means no more greed, no more fantasy, no more what if, just acceptance. And acceptance feels like weakness to the ego. So instead you choose ambition. But ambition without discipline is self-destruction. Now here is the part most traders never hear. Some of you are not holding winners into losers by accident. You are doing it on purpose, subconsciously, because deep down, you are afraid of what happens if you actually become consistent. Consistency changes identity. If you start winning regularly, you can no longer blame the market. You can no longer play the victim. You can no longer hide behind bad luck. You become responsible for your future. And responsibility is terrifying. So you sabotage. You create chaos where stability was forming. You turn green into red to return to a familiar emotional state. Because chaos feels like home. Struggle feels like identity. Many traders are not addicted to trading. They are addicted to the emotional cycle of hope, pain, and recovery. A clean, boring, disciplined win feels empty to them. So they unconsciously ruin it. And then they say, "The market took it from me." No, you gave it back. Another dark truth. Some traders hold winners into losers because they are afraid of stopping. If you take profit early, you might not get another setup for hours. And sitting with nothing to do forces you to face yourself, your thoughts, your doubts, your impatience. So you stay in the trade just to stay occupied. You trade to avoid silence. You hold to avoid boredom. And boredom is where most traders lose discipline. Now listen carefully to this. The difference between a losing trader and a profitable trader is not intelligence. It is not strategy. It is the ability to tolerate regret. A professional trader is willing to accept, "I could have made more." An amateur trader is not. So the amateur holds. Because the pain of missing more hurts more than the pain of losing everything. This is why your account grows slowly when you win and collapses quickly when you lose. Because you cut winners late and cut losers never. And over time, this creates a mathematical certainty of failure. Not because your system is bad, but because your exits are emotionally corrupted. If you want to break this pattern, you must accept one brutal rule. Your job is not to maximize profit. Your job is to execute without attachment. Once you accept that, something changes. You stop trying to extract every pip. You stop trying to prove anything. You stop negotiating with the market. You take what the market offers, not what your ego demands. Because the market is not a place to build confidence. It is a place to remove illusions. And the biggest illusion you have is this, that holding longer makes you a better trader. It does not. It only reveals how much you still need validation. Until you learn to close winning trades calmly, without celebration, without regret, without fantasy, you will keep repeating the same lesson in different forms, different charts, different years, same psychology, and the market will keep teaching you this one truth. You don't lose money when you are wrong. You lose money when you refuse to be done. Because in trading, the most dangerous word is not loss. It is just a little more.